All right. I think we'll still have people trickle in, but you wanna kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm Anna Anderson and the CEO of Art Unlimited. It is a pleasure to be here on the webinar with you, Eric, and I always been and still am, of course, a huge fan of Followup and all the great things that you guys are doing.
Great. Yeah, thank you. We're super excited to share this content and partner together. It's just a natural fit, I think, on a lot of different levels.
For sure. Well, as I shared earlier, these are extremely practical tips, again, from advanced to basic when it comes to mastering your marketing. We wanted to make sure they are able to be implemented through your team. It's some of the most challenging things from an agency perspective is the inability to be on site or have some of those face-to-face conversations or capture the tone of the company. And that's something that you can do. Again, we're going to go through many of those different items. So if it's good with you, Eric, let's go and I'll share a little bit about us and what those tips are.
Hop in.
All right. So again, this webinar is presented in tandem between Followup CRM and Art Unlimited. Super pumped. Here's a little bit about Art Unlimited. So as I bring these tips, we have 60 team members who do marketing full-time here in the US, and our largest customer base is contractors from coast to coast, border to border, and we love talking all things marketing under that umbrella, but not limited to. When it comes to marketing at the end, I can kind of share what all of that encompasses, but marketing solutions and software opportunities and integrations. I think that's one of the key things I wanted to highlight when it comes to Followup and Art Unlimited's relationship is how can Art Unlimited support a Followup and vice versa to empower the users who are tapping into Followup's great opportunities and make sure that it all talks. So that's where our software team has come into play to really provide an added benefit to all of the Followup current users and prospective users. Our business has been around for 40 years and not something many agencies can tout. It's been a definite learning experience. My father started the company in 1982. So to be clear, we are just a couple of months shy of that. But I'm like, who cares? I'm so excited about it. And we're refreshing everything for the coming year. So you get the first debut of the 40-year. And then across the board, we are committed to giving an education and making sure that we are making this world a better place. And that's why we invest so much time into webinars. So you can see it in many of our partners here graphically and some of our charitable contributions as well. So what is tip number one? What is one of the things that you need to do, but probably don't have the visibility on? And so this is a real live account. We had a conversation and we said, okay, for the last 30 days, as we've been working with their account, you had 1,149 conversions. That's a form fill or a phone call. And they're like, wow, this is amazing. And as with all things marketing, you keep peeling back the onion and you say, okay, but what's next, right? We're tracking your phone calls, we're tracking your form submissions, but where does social fit into the mix? And they go, oh, we don't know. We've never tracked it. And so we bolt it in so we can now track their social conversions. So anyone who calls or fills out a form on the website that first entered through a social platform is now being tracked. So you might go, well, Hannah, 7 conversions and the last interaction came off of a social conversion. That doesn't seem like a lot. Like, why wouldn't we just talk about the 1,149 people? Yes, that is important, but I think what we want to annotate is you have to start somewhere. We recognize social has immense impact, and the graph down below, that little like blue heartbeat type of report, that is all of the social traffic for this account year to date. And so that's where we had the conversation. We said, you know what, the last 30 days, you could have had how many conversions come off of social, and it wasn't being tracked. So again, it's always opportunities for improvement. This is a very real life example of a lot of people are not tracking their social. So tip number one, jump into Google Analytics. You can connect your social accounts. It's very easy. And you will then be able to understand what is the value of social media when it comes to your website. Tip number two is segment out your calls by the different sources and then begin to track through custom URLs. And jot this down. It's called UTM tracking links. So how many of you have looked at a phone number and said, that's a different number than the other number? Probably not many. But what I would say is there are differences in numbers. And for this example that we're looking at here on the left, you can see how many opportunities came in for this account that were specific to a different lead source. And so I just picked the top 5 when it came to their digital experience, but it's really important to have that segmentation so you can understand what is the greatest ROI to invest your money into. And the same thing goes with tracking URLs. So I'm sure, Eric, you've probably seen some of this in your experience working with many different companies. Like that lead segmentation is a powerful data component.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most hidden gems that I would recommend for any contractor. A lot of people that think that they need more different kinds of marketing, but really they just need to identify what's working and then double down on what's working.
Yep, 100%. And these are basic components that you can work on instituting in your marketing. It is a phenomenal time to start because we're just heading into a new year, right? Just like accounting, depending on when your fiscal year is, there's a lot of fresh starts that are just about to happen. So look at that fresh start when it comes to tracking your digital and phone call sources, and you will have a lot of information to be able to make executive decisions on. Tip number 3, to further implement this and make sure that you are properly leveraging your sources of traffic, is look up something called Google Tag Manager. You probably have one. If you don't have one, that has been created by an agency or your marketing manager, look into it, and here's why. What you need to be able to do is segment those traffic sources. Google Tag Manager does that, and it allows your website to load very fast. So it is a little more complex, but there's great tutorials out there. Again, if you simply search Google Tag Manager, they have how-to videos. And depending on the agency or marketing team member that you're working with, they can tell you the why, and here's how to make sure that's implemented correctly. But make sure you own the account. There's a lot of people that just say, well, my agency does that, and they don't actually own the account, so they don't understand it. So take some time. Set aside 30 minutes just to become educated about this, because it is like your connection to your financial bank account when it comes to your marketing. This one I love, Eric. This is why you and I got together, and it is taking and saying, how can, from a tracking component, can Followup work with the lead sources off of the website? And you and your team have put so much work into Zapier. Tell us a little bit more about this and harnessing it.
So Zapier, basically, if you don't know what that is, it connects with every major popular platform out there or software. So if you're using like a WordPress or Wix or whatever website or form builder that is, top 10 or 20, it probably integrates with Zapier. And that allows whatever form that you're using to capture in the information and then automatically enter that into Followup CRM. The number one thing I hear is, do I have to do double entry? And nobody wants to do double entry. So that's why we also integrate with Zapier. So you could think of them as the third-party middleman that is transferring the data from one software to the next. And when that happens, we can track where these lead sources are coming from automatically. And then you can pull, these great reports within Followup to say, the projects that we won last month, where did they come from? And we can give you that kind of information.
Yeah. So Erick and our team have worked together to make sure that if there's any challenges when it comes to that connection on a self-implementation level, we have the ability to provide backup. And Erick or you can call and say, hey, we need the Followup integration with Zapier and our website forms to work. Can you take care of it? And we have all the systems and processes and templates in place to make sure that is an easy yes on our end. So we're really excited to help because we believe clean data provides a well-run business, right? So, and that's a huge part.
Another note on that a lot of times, and maybe you're here on the call today and you have a CRM or you don't have a CRM, but you probably have a website, you probably have a contact us form. The question is where is that going to? Is it going to the inbox, just some random info email? With Zapier and Followup and your website or whatever forms that you're utilizing, we've seen a lot of other marketing agencies not make the clear connection between Followup and the website. And so that's why, we're partnering together because, we trust Art Unlimited and they know our system. We've done training on how to use Followup there and they already know how to use Zapier. So it's a natural fit to make sure everything is connected as if it was one clean system from website all the way to the signed deal.
Yep. Yeah. So super excited about that. Again, ask if you have questions on it. We're happy to help. And you're correct. We do a lot of zaps in our world and help with those connections. So what is tip number 5? Super practical. And it seems like everybody should just know this, but in reality, it doesn't actually happen. You need to make sure that as an opportunity, a lead comes into your system, that you are responding in 5 minutes or less. If we look at this chart, we understand that the opportunity to actually connect with that individual decreases significantly after we go past the 5-minute mark. So this is a massive data set that was pulled from a variety of different agencies and still holds true today when I meet with accounts and we look at what is their booking percentile and their leads that come in. And then we look at what is length of hold time. There's so many different factors that come into play or their email response. And they're like, I just don't see why we're not meeting our goals. And I'm like, because you're only connecting with 10%, 20%, 50%. And in some cases, it's 80%. But even that 20 or 15% that's still left on the table actually builds up to be quite a bit. So keep that in mind. Run an audit on your own team and do that periodically. It's pretty interesting what you will find out. Branding. This is a huge piece. And I just want to say that look at your brand, take time to ensure that it truly reflects you, that you as the owner love it, and you use it. These brands that I have shown here, we could all probably say, we recognize these right out of the box, no questions asked. We know who they are. And I would challenge you to have that consistency across your company. And how are you laying a stake in the ground or driving a stake in the ground and saying, this is who we are, we live this, and we make sure it's everywhere. So be diligent about that. Don't let it slip, because when the owner, the leadership, or the marketing team member takes their eye off of the brand, they begin to see variations from different vendors. Tip number 7, and I couldn't not pull Best Roofing into this mix, because who owns building the brand for the long haul any better than Greg and the team there at Best Roofing. So I also pulled Rackley Roofing into the mix as well, an account that we are very familiar with. But talk to us, Erick, a little bit about your experience with Best Roofing and how they day in and day out embrace that brand.
Everything is branded, from the pen to the bathrooms to everything. There's not one thing that doesn't have their signature kind of orange that is at their company, chairs, and even Greg went to the University of Miami, which is orange and green, so it's everywhere. They make sure, as you can see from this photo, the trucks are always Best Roofing branded. You can see Greg doing a talk in front of a Best Roofing poster, and you can see upper right hand. You can see them at a trade show. So, and then Ian Wallach right there on the left with his Best Roofing shirt. So they make all their crew members wear Best Roofing orange shirts. So that if you are in South Florida, you have heard or seen Best Roofing. And we're going to get into this, in a future slide that I know. But I ask people, "Oh, do you know Best Roofing?" And then they say, "Well, not everybody knows a roofing company, right?" And then I'm like, those big box trucks with the dog on it?" And they're like, "Yep." I'm like, "That's Best Roofing, right?" So Greg invested in this brand. It's like one of the top, and what a great name, right? Best Roofing. They double down on that because it's iconic here in their tri-state area.
So I would challenge everybody on today's call, like Erick shared about the success of Best Roofing and the brand and how it's been built over time. Pull up your social channels, look at the photos within your social channels. And are you seeing the brand consistently represented throughout every experience? This was simply 4 images off of the Best Roofing Instagram account. It was not hand selected by any way, but it represents the value and the attention that the brand has had throughout the years, right? That box truck didn't just happen. It was intentional and it was done over time. So have a simple brand manual of what does the brand look like for consistency factors. And how can the logo be used? What are the official colors? What are the official fonts? These details help to make sure that the brand is always consistent. And trust me, you will win big, because as you shared, Erick, that box truck, they didn't know maybe Best Roofing right off the top, but by golly, they knew the box truck, right? That's the difference. We also talk about not only identify and review what's happening in your social channels to kind of get a pulse against where you are versus your competitors. And by all means, pull up Best Roofing, check them out. The other company I would recommend checking out is Rackley Roofing. Rackley Roofing is dedicated to ensuring that their team and their apparel is always on point. And that means in the office, in a subtle way. We've got Michelle Boykin here showing off her jacket, right? That has the Rackley brand within it. And then we also have on the racetrack, NASCAR, where Curtis Sutton, and then we have Willie Allens is the racer there. They are embracing the Rackley brand as well. So ensuring that wherever you go, the brand is consistent and strong is critical. Many people say, well, we got this deal, or we're doing this custom campaign and our logo's on there. No, make sure it's visible. It is in the right brand as specified by the manual, and you will see return for years to come. So just be aware of that. And for Rackley's example, they were able to secure some prime time on a NASCAR national series, and they had 10, 15, 20-second clips across the country talking about the Rackley truck is racing down the speedway and they're in 5th place and they're holding strong. And, that is where the brand was present, and we didn't have to pay for that spot. Obviously, it's not cheap, but just be aware, be intentional. In all of that, you have the brand created, you're making sure it's infused into your team members' lives. It is of no impact if you aren't taking photos. And so our tip number 9 is make sure you're taking photos and you have a place or repository to store those photos. On your personal device is not going to help. And that's not uncommon as well. Meet with owners all the time and they go, I got all these great images, but they're on my phone and I'm going to have to send them to you. 2 weeks later, 4 weeks later, a couple months later, they're still on their phone. And so train your team. How do you take effective images? And then where do you store them? Seems super practical, but it is something that a lot of people don't pause, take time, or retrain their team on proper protocol. This to me would be an annual conversation. Audit your team and say, how are you doing? Here's what we're seeing in our system, or here's what we're not seeing. Kudos, or we need to realign ourselves and make sure we're on point for 2022.
The thing I would say about that is you have Company Cam here. We integrate with them. So that's a cool part that, you can go on site, take your photos with Company Cam and directly sync them into Followup CRM. So that repository is there in the cloud. You can access it on any time. Or if you don't use Company Cam, you could just do it straight from your phone into the follow-up opportunity, so that there's one place. I call it the digital file folder, because that, we all used to use those and stuff everything in there. That's what Follow-up does for you in the cloud. So
yeah, no, great. And it's all these partnerships that make things work together. Awesome. Do you have a referral program? This is an important component to making sure that you are successful and have quality leads always coming in. And so here's just an example. You need to make sure that you are connecting through a variety of different forms, right? Is it an app? Is it communication on a social, in-person opportunities, and through your website? What types of promos or additional rebates or offers for those referrals are in place? And there's a lot of great online programs. And Erick, this is a core element to best roofing success, I know.
100%. So from all the lead recap reports that we pull, the number one source of their new projects are referrals from current clients. That's the number one. So a lot of their marketing dollars are invested in a referral program. And, my favorite part of that, the thing that they do, it's literally icing on the cake. Whenever they close out a big project, they have one of their business development people deliver a closeout book with, before, after photos, the agreement, the contract, and then they call it a Jake cake, which is a cake that the owner's wife bakes that is super delicious, but also vegan. I didn't know, it's very good. It must be a lot of sugar or something, because it's very good. I had it yesterday actually. And, that's just, like I said, icing on the cake. And once you close out an opportunity or a job with that kind of, bow tie, the experience felt is, even if you made a mistake earlier in the project, that last impression really gets the referral program going.
Great. Very practical tips. Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Another component that Eric, you and I were talking about yesterday even is the co-op programs that are available through some vendors and manufacturers. Ask if they're available for any of your partners as you go into 2022. It is not uncommon for us to work with different large manufacturers to say, here's a campaign that we're running. We are promoting your products or services in and through this account. And what are your co-op options? And they'll go, okay, that's fantastic. We'll pay X percentile, or here's the type of reporting that we need. Sometimes they pay up to 80 or 100% of the campaign. So it's definitely worth it to ask if there are any benefits to that partnership that you have in place. So definitely I would recommend that tip, because the accounts that we have that use this program, they win big, and people go, how did they do all that? And it's just because they know where to ask, who to ask, and they're actually checking up on how many dollars do they have coming to their account.
One thing I would say about this as well is just look at the programs or associations that you might be a part of already, like ABC,
Yep.
MTA. If you just go on their website, you can see, oh, they offer this program and this program and this program. We're actually in the middle of applying to be a part of the ABC program. And the reason why is we already integrate with a lot of the softwares that already partners with them. So that it kind of does a level of vetting for you, because if they're partners with an organization that you're already a part of, then it's going to be a good fit.
100%. Yeah, great tip. Same. Art Unlimited is doing a lot of member benefits, and I'm on the National Women in Roofing Executive Committee, and there's so many benefits to the members there. Tap into those as well. Great point. This seems really rudimentary, but you would be surprised how many people we talk to, and their company, when a moment of crisis happens, or someone goes on vacation, or there's a transition within the company, they find out that all of the communication for social channels, for their web chat, for maybe some of their Google or Microsoft chat and communication is all run through that one person's personal phone. So what we recommend is having one device in the company that's owned by the company, and preferably not the owner's phone, to be dedicated to have all of those elements streaming through it. So the apps are kept current. In the moment of crisis, just like the storm that rolled through in Kentucky and Tennessee, early Saturday morning, we were on the phone. We had 4 or 5 people that were calling our accounts and checking in, see how they were doing. And we were walking through this very topic with some of them. They're like, Anna, my phones are down. I have voice over IP, VoIP. I need to get to internet. I don't have my device with me. The owners on the roofs, the list goes on and on. Put this in place. It seems like you shouldn't have to, but I've seen it play out a few times. It's easier done than in the moment of crisis. I love this one. And I don't know how many of you have said, how do we just be us? How do we make sure that we are reflecting who we are? Best Roofing does it so well. I would challenge people to check out Kudo Construction. They're up on the East Coast, and they are them. Derek and Jason are the owners of Kudo Construction, and they are fun. They bring their personality, their culture to life on social media, and they take it to a whole new level. They use a variety of different medias. We strategize with them, but it's a lot of fun to work with their team, and they pause, they're them, and their community is continuing to grow. This piece I would like it, Eric, if you could talk a little bit about how Best Roofing does community. I have an example here of a bike drive that Yellowhammer Roofing does, but Best Roofing does a lot of fun stuff in the community. You've got the bus, you've done a soccer game. Tell us a little bit more about those things.
Just off the top of my head. So what they do every year is a Christmas soccer game for their crews where they invite the whole family out and, they have this crew versus that crew. So it's really good community and really good team building time. That's one thing that they do. They just literally go to a park, rent out a space and they have like a soccer tournament. Like how great is that? And then another thing that, they do is down in South Florida, they're known because you saw a box truck, but what you didn't see was a lot of their trucks are actually rehabbed school buses, which is kind of funny. So they'll buy some, school bus that's been decommissioned, they paint it, they redo everything. And, that's what they drive around town. And, it catches your eye for sure, talking about branding and community. But one of these buses, they've actually dedicated to the local church community. And it drives around every night of the week and serves homeless people with meals. So around Broward and I believe some of Miami-Dade County as well, it just drives around and it partners with these different churches and it helps, those that are not as fortunate. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Not only is that touches people's hearts, but when you talk about that soccer game, a week, 2, 3 weeks prior, people are excited about it, right? They're talking about it, they're preparing, and they're talking about it outside of their work environment. I think that's critical, especially when we look at the job shortage of team members to join our companies. That conversation before and after is really important to help expand awareness about the opportunities for employment, but then also how amazing the company is, and maybe you should work with them. You alluded to this, and we have the Jake cake that you talked about. But then there's also the Jake videos. We have our mascot here, Art, as well. Like, this is an important part of great marketing. Do you have a mascot? If not, I would recommend getting one. Eric, what has the value been for Best Roofing to have a mascot?
Like I said, everybody knows them because they have that dog on there, and it's huge dog, and it has a little quote bubble that says, "How's your roof?" Right? So little cutesy things like that just kind of sticks in the back of your mind. And when you see that every time, you realize that this is a good company, a family-owned company. And also, like, the Jake cakes are actually formulated in the shape of a dog head, right?
Awesome.
So you open it up and it's molded as a dog, right? As Jake. So, and their work environment's dog friendly. So you kind of expect it. I think, back in the day, Greg's had this mascot for decades, and I've seen other people in other cities kind of replicate it because it works.
So we have the Art mascot, and we have 3 of them that travel the country and they visit clients, and Art visits our team members. So Art he goes with his own little crate. He goes with a gift card. He goes with these different things, and he takes mini vacations with our team members so they can have them up to a week. And in return for the gift card and some of these different promos, again, customers can request them too. They then have to just send 2 to 3 images of Art in action in their daily life. And so it's like this internal community, and in some cases, external community that we're able to share with some of our customers. But he's been on some international trips this year, so it's been a lot of fun, and mascots have really kind of created this bond for our company as well. So if you're wondering, what all of those 15 tips maybe you aren't able to implement. Here's a complete list of the services Art Unlimited offers. We strive for excellence in everything that we do, and you can see the list is long when it comes to what we provide. But at the end of the day, it's tailoring our services to help make sure that you see growth, and providing that custom component as well, because just push button marketing doesn't work anymore. You need to make sure that has the Jakes or the arts in the world to help make you fun and engaging. And with that, thank you so much, Erick, for allowing me to be on today's webinar and bringing that partnership to Followup as through Zapier and Art Unlimited. I'm really excited about the opportunities for your customers and ours who use Followup.
Thank you. All these tips are great, actionable. You could do it alone, but actually you should use Art Unlimited to do this. Like they're great. And I hope to together we can bring, a full kind of front end solution to a lot of our clients. So thank you again.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later.